Welcome to a series of podcasts discussing series of films.
I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
In a world inundated with prequels, sequels, spin-offs, and reboots, we ask the question,
Do we need one more? I think we do.
I think we don't. So, we all got haircuts and didn't decide to tell each other that we...
No, we didn't.
We all ended up cutting... We all had long hair and decided to cut it short.
We went from Goblet of Fire into Order of Phoenix. That's
Oh,
where we
you're
are.
so right. We did a Mission Impossible 2 to Mission Impossible 3.
Yes,
if you will.
that was a better reference.
We were trying to figure out a way to open the episode, and I looked around at the room and I realized that we all had much shorter hair, and I was like, I'm not going to say this until the episode is rolling, and it's too late. We can't go back now.
No.
This is where we are.
This is where we are. This is, I don't know the episode number, but this is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
Yes.
We've
already lost count of the episodes.
We
We have the count. We
it's
just
like,
don't
it's
know
like
off the
11 or
top of our
12.
head.
So if you're listening at home, you know the number, and you're laughing
Yeah.
at us in your car rides and your homes. You're holding your significant other, listening to us
That's
for
true.
some reason.
Yep. Thank you for doing that,
oh,
by
yeah.
the way. I appreciate it.
We think this is a tender show, yeah.
A tender show? Certainly.
Tender enough to cuddle to? No?
You know, I think art, which is what podcasting is, ultimately is art,
Yeah.
is subjective. So I think, people...
To quote Rod Sterling, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
100%. So, if this is a show that you cozy up at the end of the night with a chamomile tea and a blanket, and you listen to us talk about Tom Cruise trying to kill himself.
A gentle spooning to...
Yeah, if you're doing that, good for you. If you're on your way to work, good for you. If you're, just like, I don't know, listen to us in the background, like, thank you.
If you're cleaning, right on.
As someone who listens to
missed a spot?
podcast, yeah, you got to clean up that living room. It's
Do it again.
kind of a mess. It's been a while since you vacuumed, and I think you really, we can tell. I don't want to be rude.
No, don't.
But we can tell.
We can tell.
Yeah.
We can tell. Also, you're probably not thinking this, but is my dustbuster charging? Probably not.
It never is.
It never is.
It never is.
I really rolled the dice on that joke. I wasn't sure if that was going to be relatable or not.
No, every time I think that it's this, yeah, oh my gosh, I'm not going to stop because I'll call out some companies, but no, it's never charging. I always forget to actually start the dryer. You ever do that where you're doing a lot of laundry and then you go and like, okay, cool, I'm done. You open, the clothes are still wet, and you're like,
I don't forget to turn it on. Well, it's happened once, so I have, but I don't typically do it. What I forget to do is I pull it all out. I take my warm clothes out of the dryer, right?
Sure.
Take it back to my room. Just hit the mic. I take them out, put them in my room, and then I get lost doing something else, and the dryer door is still open, and the clothes are in fact wet in it. They've never made it into the dryer.
Yeah. I've certainly done that before. Welcome to our cleaning podcast. I was gonna do a We Need One More parody, but I don't have one for this one. I'm sorry.
I need one more mop.
Oh, that's pretty good. We need one floor, clean.
Hey,
how do we think about that?
I'm here for it.
It's like a whisper at the end.
Yeah,
clean.
Mr. Clean.
That's true.
Mr. Murdoch.
Enigma.
That's even better.
Mr. Enigma.
Mr. Hunt. Okay, bringing it back. It back.
All right, yeah. So we are in. This is cool, actually. I was thinking about this earlier today. This will be the first series where we don't know how it ends. The movies are still ongoing. Obviously, we've probably referenced this in other episodes.
Yeah. The spoiler of this one is we know we're getting one more.
Yes, we know we are. But
so
the
it's irrelevant of, the question is
what will we need one more after? And also, I would say, how successful are they in this one? Because this was originally intended, probably still intended, but marketed differently, right? It was originally marketed as part 1 and part 2.
Yes.
They are shifting that so that they are 2 distinct movies, kind of in Infinity War Endgame, if you will.
It's no longer Dead Reckoning part 1, part 2. It's Dead Reckoning and the Final Reckoning.
Yes. And we'll see if that is the final Mission Impossible film.
Yeah.
I definitely think they set up that he can kind of walk away from this franchise.
Yeah.
Ethan could leave. Like, we're just setting up a lot of new players.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like not to look, this is a spoiler-filled podcast, so if you haven't watched the movie and you care about that sort of thing, go check it out, then come back.
Yes.
If you have watched the other episodes, go watch those, and then join us on Discord, guys. We got that going, and
let us know.
Let us know. Send us your letterbox reviews of these movies.
I would love that, please. I want
to know what you guys think.
I
do.
I want to see other people's funny one-sentence letterbox reviews that are probably funnier than mine.
You're like ... Tom Cruise, the Kool-Aid Man?
Yeah.
Exclamation point?
Exclamation point.
Oh, yeah.
I think my letterbox review for this was Love Paris, and then in parentheses, not the city.
We love Mantis.
Yeah, exactly. We really do. We'll get into it. But sorry, you were saying.
I've actually already forgot where I was going with that one.
Well, that this was a part 1, part 2.
Oh, yeah. I guess just like I feel like there's a lot of like people getting set up. Like Mantis has been set up. We've got the new addition of Haley Atwell's character. What was her character's name again? I've already.
Her name is Grace.
Grace,
and then
that's right.
Palm Clementieff is Paris.
Yes. And I was gonna say Jeremy Renner is lurking in the shadows somewhere, so like he could come back.
Yes. Okay. We won't get into this news, but I do want to say we're not to date this episode, but we are recording this the day that the Avengers Doomsday cast was announced. And there was all the chairs.
Yes.
And because you bring up Jeremy Renner, I can't tell you how badly I wanted the camera to pan and for it to say the Jeremy Renner app as one of them, that they would be like utilizing it to defeat Doom. I was begging for that.
Like, there's only one thing we can do. We need to download the Jeremy Renner app.
Exactly. We got to keep up to date on the Bourne Legacy. Is that the one that he's in?
The Bourne Adjacent?
Yeah. The Bourne Adjacent is killer.
I can't take that credit for that joke. I saw a post from the Weekly Planet where they made that joke.
Well, hey, shout out to
Weekly Planet.
That's a great joke. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you, Mr. Sunday. That joke is fire.
But yeah, like you're saying, we're kind of setting a lot of new chess pieces, on which, getting into the movie actually, like, there is that little reference in the submarine cold open.
Yeah, very Hunt for Red October.
Very Hunt for the Red October. But there's that moment where he goes to grab, I want to say like a key, or no, he grabs the telephone, and there's literally there's a chessboard just sitting there. And I saw that and I was like, this is a nice little reference to what this movie is going to be, which is an entity who is 4 or 5 steps ahead of you, that has seen the outcome, that is playing it like chess.
It's a terrifying villain.
It is.
There are moments in this movie where I'm like, that is terrifying.
This movie is a little hokey. I think it's like, and I don't say that as a negative.
No.
But I think it's the maybe goofiest of the series.
Over 2?
2 is bananas. But like this one, I feel like the idea
threat is
like
a real one.
Yeah, well, that it's like
one.
There's a lot of like the fact that Ethan is like fighting an AI, and it is like a religion that is like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff that's like kind of quote unquote goofy. But I think it's good. Like, I think it's good. I think this is we talked about the movies, like, that a strength of them is that they're so deeply earnest. Yeah. And I think that maintains itself here, but I do think it balances it, but it is also like, we're gonna do the goofiest stuff, but we are also still gonna be just as serious about it.
Yeah, we're gonna be so about it.
So when it's like, the entity has thought of every single possible inevitability,
and it's seen you win in one of these scenarios.
Yeah, that it's
scared.
Yeah, like all that stuff.
Of
like
you specifically, Tom Cruise.
And like Asai Morales is like in like a coffin with like an AI mask. It's like,
okay, where was that coffin when I was in finals week, man? I needed that shit so bad.
That's the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen, by the way. We're jumping ahead, but like, when every time that coffin opens and he's just like Nosferatu.
I was gonna say, I want someone to like rotoscope his ass into the Nosferatu coffin, and Nicholas Holt's like, oh, AI.
Yes. But yeah, so obviously, kind of like the last movie, Fallout, we saw this movie together.
We did in IMAX.
In
All of
IMAX.
its glory.
We saw it in a different theater though, so it wasn't the full IMAX. I won't say where we are, but there's
remember where we saw it.
I do remember, but it's
not.
Out. I do. Well, I don't know if we should say where we live. So I was like, there is a for people who know where we live, who are friends and watch this podcast, there is an IMAX theater that is like the IMAX theater.
It's like one of the actual ones.
Yeah, it's like Christopher Nolan visited this theater, like legit.
Yeah.
And that is where we saw Fallout.
Yes.
Was like the IMAX theater. And then this one we saw at a movie theater that is just like in one of the suburbs of where we live.
And it is a mighty screen, but
it is a big screen with the IMAX speakers.
Yes.
And they have this IMAX
Which explains
sound.
a lot because it sounded awesome.
It did sound awesome.
The sound design in this movie is really fantastic.
Also the same theater we saw Dune Part 1 in. I know too much about this. I'm sorry that I...
No, it's okay. This is the kind of like weird like details that I'm like, oh really? Okay, I'm putting like math together, like figuring out like my viewing experiences.
But we saw this...
I'm a snob.
Because I don't remember the theater in Fallout, but the theater we saw this in was packed.
Yeah.
I remember it was like filled.
We saw it kind of like weirdly early for Fallout, and so I feel like it wasn't
Yeah.
as packed as it could have been, but it was still like a decent turnout for what we had.
I still think the greatest crime this movie commits is not something that happens in the movie. It is the fact that they decided to release it a week before Barbie and Oppenheimer came out.
Paramount dropped the ball on that one.
It's that thing of like, I don't know what the decision making is. I'm not trying to criticize y'all, but I do think when you started to see the momentum of Barbenheimer, like when that became like a cultural movement, like as
a
much
religion, dare we say?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, and I'm a follower of that.
People haven't been that excited for like movies like in a minute. Like, like where it's like, oh, there's like, which one are you seeing? Are you seeing both? Like, it was like a what? Everyone wants to see one or two movies like this weekend. Like, that's crazy.
Like when people are like, oh, well, this movie kind of underperformed. Like, is that it for the Mission Impossible franchise? And I was like, maybe don't release it before two of the biggest movies of probably the two biggest movies of that year.
They were. It was like 1 and 2.
It was
like, I think it was Barbie then Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And it was like a narrow margin.
Yeah. But that is the only thing that I'm like, that's the only crime I think this movie commits is that it's like, man, you should have given yourself a little bit more runway, either before or after or something. But like,
they're like, we don't want to compete with Transformers. And it's like, that's not the one you have to worry about.
You should have. I know it's the same company. You should have done that.
Yeah, actually, that one, Transformers should have been pushed to like October or something.
This movie made money. It wasn't like a flop, but it did underperform.
It underperformed compared to it. But what you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Should have listened to Tom. That's what they should have done.
That's true. But ultimately, how do you feel about this movie as we go into the plot?
It's funny.
Our thoughts on it.
I was telling Dish just like when we were setting up and stuff that it's like funny doing all these movies back to back to back, and like after 6 of them, like going into a 7th one, I was like, I'm a little burnt out. Like I don't feel like watching this, and then I put it on, and then I'm like hooked, and like I'm strapped in.
That theme hits, and you lock in
basically.
Dude.
And I think like this one, I think it's like, I've got like 2 big things that I kind of don't like about this movie. And this time around, like, I think it's too long.
I agree.
I still love this movie. I think it's really good, but I think it's because it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes, but the first 30 minutes are kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like it takes like 22, 25 minutes to feel like a Mission Impossible movie. And it's like really it's that like desert sequence that I think is kind of like, why are we here? Like it's cool, but
that we keep going back.
Stylistically, it doesn't really make sense. Like we're gonna come back here and we're gonna fake Elsa's death only to then like actually kill. And I'm just like, well, it just feels like not super efficient. Yeah, it's just like I feel like the first like 30 minutes of this movie aren't the most efficient.
And
it's really like the only thing I can figure out is that like that desert sequence, though like really visually cool, seems to be like the weirdest part of it, where it's like we kind of need the submarine stuff, we kind of need the really long explanation with all the politicians and things. So the desert sequence is kind of like unnecessarily long, and I think that's where they kind of lose a lot of momentum at the start. But then once like the mask comes off, and it's like,
oh yeah,
which is such a great reveal.
It's
like that's like the movie's like it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds all the way to the end, and it's like really good. But it's like I felt the length a little bit more in this one. And yeah, it's just like, so it's like, I really enjoy this one, but like going into this, I was a little like, okay.
This is the only one that I have felt like, and again, I don't try to say, cause I do love this movie. Like it's really good. It's to really spoil it, I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. Like that was my, I think this movie's really, really great. But it is the only one where I feel like I kind of have to like strap in for.
You kind of do. It's almost like, it's like somehow it's like the least rewatchable in a sense because of its length.
Despite I think
Despite being one of the most polished ones.
And also I think having some of my favorite bits of the whole series.
True.
Like again, like we've said before and other things, and plenty of people have said as well, that it's like it's crazy that we're, 30 years and like 7 movies in and we're still getting like some of the best stuff in the series. Yeah, I like, yeah, it's a fascinating, or fascinating maybe too strong of a word, but it is interesting. So, okay, I just want to just get this out here because I'm an idiot. My first note is Cerebro-looking submarine. Do you also think that where the entity is housed, it just looks like Cerebro?
They open up the box and Xavier's just in there like, oh.
Yeah.
He's like the mailman in Men in Black 2.
It's like in X-Men 2 or whatever, where is it Jean that comes in and he's like passed out on the ground?
That might be the first one.
Is it the first one?
It might be the first one. Is it when Mystique poisons it?
Yeah,
That's the first one. Because
okay,
then she like puts it on. She's like,
yeah. Oh no, or
she's
whatever.
Like, oh no, I'm not strong enough to do this.
Yeah. As one is often to do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh no, they put green Kool-Aid in the in Cerebro.
God forbid.
They Mountain Dewed the Cerebro. I can't do it.
Oh no, dude, not the Baja Blast.
Oh no.
But they
weren't prepared to do the dew.
I think this cold open is great, especially because I thought Ethan was gonna like Aquaman.
Okay, did you
into
think
the
that
submarine.
He was the thing that was coming?
I did. It's literally what I wrote. I said I remember watching this in the theater and thinking it was going to be Ethan full Adam Warlock rocketing towards
I thought
the
it was
submarine.
Gonna be like I thought it was gonna be like a ding ding, and they're like what? And it's like dun 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 dun. I need your help.
Yeah, I remember thinking that, which is absurd. Now in hindsight to think that it's like Ethan pretends to be a submarine, like to David Hasselhoff his way in.
That would be amazing. Oh my god. Okay, so if they do it in the SpongeBob movie, dare I say, we might need one more where he's the David Hasselhoff.
Cruz does kind of have the energy of that Hasselhoff cameo, not like, in his day to day, but he would match that well.
Yeah, it's the same scenario except like they're stuck in a mountain, like a crevice, and they're like, "How are we gonna get out of this?" And then Tom Cruise is like, "I've got you." Dun,
he's got like rockets in his feet, like.
But he's doing like that like pendulum hang he does or whatever it's called, the dead man hang in the second one.
I love that. That's pretty great. We should make that happen.
And he tucks him like, I don't know, in his ears.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like that. We're keeping that. But already I feel like, so this movie, I was talking to our producer Dish about this on the drive here. This movie is kind of oddly like indebted to the first film. There's a lot of callbacks.
They go back to that one quite a bit.
Yeah, and like style, like there's a lot of the De Palma, like Dutch. There's a lot of like fun, like McQuarrie is kind of like adjusting his style, like it. And McQuarrie is a good director, but I think he's one of, I don't say this as a negative, but I think there are directors who are both skilled in their own right and both skilled in similar things. But there are directors that have very specific like visual looks, and then there are some that are kind of like able to kind of translate themselves to the material. You know what I mean? Like I think there are directors that are defined by their style versus directors that are translatable to the material. Yeah, he can kind
of weave
like
around
shapeshift
a
little bit.
I feel like he doesn't, like his filmography as of late does not have like a lot of range because it is just basically Mission Impossible
movies
and like one Jack Reacher movie.
That's true.
Really good.
Which
really like that one.
You know what he did with the Jack Reacher franchise? Never go back. He did the one and then he never went back.
Such a dumb they shouldn't have. I don't.
Does anybody remember about Jack Reacher Never Go Back?
I do. I don't like that one because I like the first one. No, you know what's not to like side tangent because we'll probably have to do Jack Reacher at some point.
That's
on this.
True. Yeah.
I haven't seen the Alan Richardson show, which I've seen clips and it looks really
good. It looks good. Yeah.
Not to get into all the controversy around that in terms of the Tom Cruise casting.
Sure.
But the
Short King.
It's like the first one really is like the script is like kind of like. It's kind of designed to be like a Taken, like kind of like a B movie.
Sure.
And then McQuarrie comes in and makes it like so much more in a way that like the way like Stahelski like elevated John Wick. Like this could have just been like a really schlocky, dumb kind of movie. And then they came in and like made it more. And then the second Jack Reacher movie is what I was afraid Jack Reacher would be.
Got you. Fair.
Like,
I haven't seen it, and I say the McQuarrie thing to not say that he like doesn't have a definitive style, but it is that thing of like
technically too early.
He's leaning into it. Just feels like he's leaning into De Palma more in this one, which I think is fun. I think
it's really fun.
This movie's like really chaotic at moments. There's a lot of like crazy movement, and one specific character who really embraces the chaos. Actually, we brought her up earlier, Paris. I love that she's just like into destruction. Like when she's driving the car and she's like smiling, I'm like, this is a character unlike we have ever seen in the Mission Impossible
it's like we
movies.
haven't got it like you kind of hope like the Bone Doctor is going to be that kind of weird, but he's not.
Right,
like but it's like this is like it's like a James Bond villain. It's like Jaws, you know, like oh, she's going to nibble through an iron cable at some point.
The look with like the face paint and like the like, you know, like a circus outfit or whatever, I think is
single
like
strand of hair,
iconic. I think it's so sick.
It's really cool. I hope she's back in the next one.
I think she will be.
I imagine she will be.
She might be the Huntress. Did you hear about this? There's rumors that James Gunn has cast her as the Huntress, and she'll get like a Huntress solo thing.
That's
awesome. If
which
that's the
is
case,
great. Good for her. That's amazing.
I think she's so good.
She's so underutilized, like in Hollywood, just in general.
We do not talk about how good she is as Mantis.
No, she's so good
because that's a character that could not work. Like, not say that Gunn's writing isn't there, because it is, but like just the concept of like that character, I could see people be like, oh, they're annoying. I don't think this way, but I could see people be like, oh, such and such is annoying. But like Gunn's writing and her performance are so like good and layered and interesting.
She brings like a levity to everything that's like really fun. And then like it gets to be like the exact opposite in this one, where she's just like, you know, she's at the end of like a dark alleyway.
She's like the heavy. She's like the like when she shows up with that pipe, I was like, dude, let's go, lock in. Like there are so many moments in this movie and in this series where I'm like, oh, hell yeah, dude. Specifically, like you said, the scene where we get the mask, Cruise does the mask bit, and we get the scene of like 5 of the most fun character actors in one room discussing the intricacies of the Mission Impossible franchise.
Oh yeah,
is wonderful. I literally wrote
shout out
all
to
of
Cary
their...
Elwes for being in these movies, because he's so like perfectly hammy.
This scene is Cary Elwes, Rob Delaney, Henry Czerny, Charles Parnell, Mark Gatiss, and Indira Varma. And they're all so fucking good.
You know what my favorite part about this scene is? Just everyone in that room knows about the IMF except the guy who should probably be the only one to know what they are.
The only guy.
He's like, wait, what's going on? Tell me more. And like everyone who's like reporting to him has to explain to him what's going on. Well, my favorite thing is that... And I'm like, is he new? Did he just get the job? And they were like, oh, we haven't told you yet, so now we're going to tell you because it's like relevant.
My favorite thing about the energy of that scene is that everyone in that room talking to Cary Elwes has the energy of this. Listen, so like there's this guy and like we call him and sometimes he does these missions and like we kind of just have to let him do his fucking thing.
It's like we have to let him do his thing. It's honestly the most stressful. It's more stressful because we're not in control, but he gets the job done.
Yeah. Like they're just, again, the I think we said it in one of the earlier episodes, but should he choose to accept? Like he's like, that's crazy that we offer him the choice.
Yeah. Like he's got an option to say no.
Yeah. And it's like, well, if he doesn't think that he can't do it, then he's allowed to leave. Like they have a line where there's like, he's like, he has the right to say no. And he's like, yeah, that's weird. You don't do that.
Hard cut to him at the end of the movie, like, I want to control everything.
My favorite, shout out to the actor who is the first Tom Cruise. I meant to look his name up. I feel bad. But the guy who's the first Tom Cruise disguise, who wears the sick glasses.
The sick glasses, who I thought was going to be in more of the movie based on that trailer.
Well, when he showed up in the movie, I was like, never has a person been more obviously Tom Cruise in these movies than when Tom Cruise has just put prosthetics onto his face.
I know.
Like,
then, like,
he
the first
showed
movie
up, I was like,
that's
Tom Cruise.
Like, what's going on, soldier?
Yeah. When he's on, CNN or whatever, he's like, these people.
Have relationships.
Yeah. All that is great. Obviously, we get, Kittredge is back for the first time.
Kittredge is back, and he's so funny.
So good. I remember texting you about this when he was announced, and it was like, fuck yes, they finally brought Kittredge back, which is so funny that we're like cheering for that character's return, which is great. I'm not just dismissing the character, but it's just like fun to be a fan of these movies.
And be like, recognize them and be like, hey, it's Kittredge.
Be like the guy who's like the secondary antagonist has come back.
Yeah, like a guy who was like basically hunting him the whole first movie. He's like back being like,
he's like a suit.
Yeah.
Like he's like just like a
a career politician.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I love seeing him. Like,
you think he'll be the Red Hulk in the next one, or
Do I think I think he'll be recast with Harrison Ford?
Oh,
no.
the entity is revealed to just be Harrison Ford typing away.
That would be nuts if it's him. Like, honestly, dude, Tom Cruise versus Harrison Ford is
They should just do that at some point.
Killer movie. Yeah, Mission Impossible or not, like to see them both, like their levels of intensity, like not blinking, staring at each other,
Yes,
would kind of be remarkable to witness.
Yeah. Also, I looked up our boy with the mask who is revealed to be Tom Cruise.
Thank you.
It is Marcello.
Okay.
Might be. He feels French.
One of the sharpest jaws I've ever
Nope,
seen.
an actor in London, so he's British.
All right. Hey.
What do you think, Marcello?
Let me see it again. Dave, for those who are listening to audio, Dave's pulled up his IMDb.
This part of the.
I want to say
brain,
Marcello.
Marcello feels like that.
We're sorry if we're mispronouncing your name. Genuinely,
we're a big fan. We're trying to shout you out. But
IMDb should have like a desert sequence and stuff like that. And kind of maybe it goes on for too long.
Throwback to the last week where we talked about Tom Cruise being Nathan Drake in the Uncharted.
Yeah, for real.
I love it because it feels super Uncharted, but that's also kind of a problem because it's a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, fair.
But it's just like when I look at the whole movie, so much of it works, and it's like that's the one sequence where I go, "Why are we here?"
Well, so okay, obviously we already did our spoiler thing off the top.
Yeah.
So just to get it out of the way, Ilsa dies in this movie.
Yeah.
Twice. Yeah. Once fake and then for real.
Yeah. Well, maybe so. Pirate Elsa was killed.
That's true. Pirate Elsa. But no. So there are two beats that happen in the beginning of this movie that I want to call out. That I should have known she was gonna die. In the beginning is one when they're in the desert. When she attacks him thinking that it's someone else. Ilsa, it's me. Ilsa, it's me. There's a beat where she has the key around her neck, right? On like a necklace. Mm-hmm. And the shot is Ethan, Ilsa, and then the key literally dangling in the middle. The most like visual like way that you could observe that. I do like the beat that Ethan, his mission is there for the key. First thing he does is he hugs Ilsa. He actually ignores the key, which I think is a nice kind of beat. But then,
as he should. They basically spent the last two movies trying to like date each other.
Yes. But then literally right after that, and I have this right after that in my notes too, Kittredge has this line, "This mission is going to cost you dearly." And Ilsa is just in the background. Her photo is just literally occupies like 40% of the frame.
Yeah, that's the other thing I don't.
It's like I should have known.
Yeah, well, it's like that thing of like the whole time I was watching it, I was like, I have like a weird feeling because like I just feel like she wasn't in a lot of the marketing, and like when she was like on press release stuff, she kind of seemed like she was ready to go.
Well,
and it's like, I think my other complaint about this movie is that it just kind of feels like she's such a strong addition and one of the like strongest additions to the franchise.
Yeah,
she spends this one just kind of waiting to die.
It's tough because it's like like she's come out and said like she's like, I love doing those movies. The trouble is that they just take a really long time to make,
which is so fair.
Which is very fair, and it's like if you want to do other stuff, it's hard to commit. And obviously, she is in the two Dune films. She's remarkable in those films. She's really good. So good in those movies.
Really good.
So I could see, like, I understand being like, I've had my time here. I kind of want to be able to do other things. A Donald Glover on Community, if you will.
Yeah. She's gonna start a rap career.
That'd be crazy.
That'd actually be nuts. But Natalie Portman did all those raps on SNL.
Yeah, of course. And there's the second one.
Ferguson should do one.
I would watch Rebecca Ferguson do anything. I think she's staggeringly incredible.
Greatest Showman 2. She's like,
yeah. I'll watch a Greatest Showman spin-off of just her character. But I think, it's tough because also, we've talked about, I think we've talked about it. So obviously there's the storytelling cliche of fridging someone, right? Which is a reference to the Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner book, where they introduce his girlfriend just to kill her in the issue that she's introduced. They put her
really introduced in it too? Damn.
Yes, that's the whole. For those of you who don't know, the whole thing is that I remember
the second part about it.
in a book, I believe she is introduced in that book only so that she can die at the end of the issue. She is stuffed in a fridge, which is where the phrase "fridge" comes from, and it's just to add dramatic stakes to the lead character. Ilsa is obviously, she has been around in these movies. She's not just introduced just to die, but it does feel like we're just kind of like, I don't know. She does feel a little underserved. I'm not against characters that are high priority or are very important to the main character. I'm not against those characters dying in stories, but it does feel like she's kind of not.
She's not really in this movie.
Yeah, which I guess they're trying to be like, hey, like we know that you've watched the other movies, right? So we know that you have this emotional connection already going into it. And it seems like they want to focus on introducing Grace, Haley Atwell, which is, I understand that. And I think she's wonderful in this
She's a great addition,
movie.
too.
She's a great addition. This movie continues the baton pass of introducing wonderful actors in great roles, actors who deserve more spotlight. Haley Atwell is certainly one of those actors that has been around for a long time. And deserves a spotlight like this. I think it's so great to watch her like go toe to toe with Cruise.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They've
it's a
had some
bit of a
great
bummer.
scenes together in this.
They really do. I have a note where I feel like I was looking at Grace, because Grace is the idea is that, right, like she is this new emotional connection that Ethan has.
Yeah.
And it's like, whereas Ilsa was kind of poised as like Ethan's equal. That Grace feels like his successor. Like, I know we've talked about,
kind of is set up to kind of be new Ethan.
Yeah, which I'm into.
Like, even more so than Renner was.
Yeah, like agreed. And like obviously, like right now, just like
she's
meta-wise,
she's like a pickpocket thief on the run kind of thing, which was kind of his backstory, maybe.
Well, yeah. So they kind of do. Is it a retcon? They kind of retcon. I don't want to use that word because it feels too strong.
Because I feel like they're just like, well, there's like additional information to all that just wasn't like mentioned. Because like apparently in the like if you read his dossier in like 1, when they like go over like freeze frame it, like there's something about him being in the circus.
Do they really? Yeah. Awesome.
He's got like a Dick Grayson kind of background, like
that's great.
And
big fan of Vincent
Batman.
Black
He's
Knights.
Like, hey, you're stealing my tires, boy.
That's pretty good. But yeah. So it's like. Yeah, it's not a retcon, but it is like, hey, we're establishing new information about Ethan Hunt because this is the story that we want to tell. Yeah, I think it works. It's just weird. I think the movie, again, like you said, it's continuing off of all the other stuff, but it also feels like it's telling a new story. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's less like we're going, it's not like 5 to 6. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like 5 to 6. I guess this into, because this is, so 7 to 8 will be like 5 to 6.
yeah, basically. Yeah. Probably even more so, because they are meant to be
it was meant
two
to be
halves of one whole.
Part 2. But okay, so we should probably jump into the plot here a little bit more specifically.
Yeah, so
we gotta find 2 halves of the keys, save the world.
Yes, there is. So
stop the entity.
The key, they presume, is going to lead. Nobody really knows where the key goes, right? Or at least, I guess we know, the audience knows that it goes to unlock where the entity is, right? And the idea is that you need to get the key so that you can control the entity, which is this like super smart AI. And Ethan naturally is like, hey, that's a really bad idea. We should just kill it. He's right.
He's absolutely right. This is Tom Cruise just talking to Paramount about the use of AI.
This is exactly what I was about to say, is that you agree that this is a meta narrative of...
Oh, super. They've all been meta narratives.
Yeah, this one, I mean, to the point, this is where I'm like, it's maybe the most hokey, is that it's literally Tom Cruise fighting artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
But I do like the entity.
I think it's really creative how they utilize it.
I also love Asai Morales as Gabriel.
He's pretty good.
So good.
He's
Deathstroke himself.
Because he was Deathstroke on
Titans.
Right?
Yeah. He's got good. There's so much aura in this movie. This whole cast. When we get to the nightclub, I was like, it's just aura.
I have a note. Do you think those like extras like had to get like tired just like doing like weird yoga, like
doing this like
slow dance acrobat kind of thing?
I would get exhausted.
Because they're like in the back of every shot, and I was like, imagine just spending like a 14-hour day just in the background going.
Yeah, you're like, I'm barely in frame. Yeah,
feel the rave.
But hey, good for them.
Someone get me some ecstasy stat.
Okay. But yeah, so they have to get the 2 halves of the key so that the other people don't, basically, because it's all about over control of the entity.
Because they're aware it leads to the entity, but not, or it's related to the entity, but they don't know how. And then it's like, really, they don't even find out until like the very end of the movie.
Yeah, Paris.
It's literally Paris, because she overhears Elwes and what's Carrie Elwes' name in that movie?
I do not know.
I have the IMDb pulled up.
Carrie Elwes.
Carrie Elwes.
Yeah.
He's actually playing his character from Saw.
Eric Elwes. That's his character's name. But even the entity,
the Dread Pirate Roberts.
It's like everyone's trying to find control. The entity is trying to have kind of control over itself. They actually say that the entity went rogue, which I think is funny. That like everybody's gone
Who
rogue.
did it better?
Well, Ving even has that. There's two beats where the first mission, right, that Ethan gets, Kittredge is like, do not go rogue another goddamn time.
And Ethan's like, have you seen these movies?
And Ving, then
Like
they're in the airport, and I think it's Ving Rhames who goes, that we've already gone rogue and the mission hasn't even started. Or is it Benji?
It's Benji in that one, where they're just setting up. I was like, okay, so we're already going rogue before, and this is an act of treason? Monday, it's a Monday.
Yeah, they literally do. Yeah,
Mondays.
Just another Monday.
Hump day.
The airport is great.
Airport's great.
We're getting to meet everybody, have
stuff.
everybody like...
Where they're tricking the cameras, and then the entity is like tricking the cameras, but even harder.
I do appreciate that, Cruise is like, they're using deep fakes and AI, but they're using it as like narrative beats instead of using it to like replace artists and creatives, which I appreciate.
Yes.
The way that I would like to see people continue to use it.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But not actually using it to like just do a bunch of Nightmare Realm stuff. But it does introduce us to all of our new characters, into Grace, and to Gabriel.
Into Shea Wiggum.
Shea Wiggum is what I wanted to say. Shea Wiggum is the standout for me in this.
I'm waiting for it to be revealed that he's Alec Baldwin's brother from the other ones.
Well, there is that moment where Degas, I think is the character's name, the guy who is kind of
his sidekick,
the right hand to Shea
Robin
Wiggum.
to Shea Wiggum's Batman in this.
There's a moment where he's like, "Is this personal?" And he's like, "Nope." And he's like, "But it's kind of personal." And he's like, "Yep." And we don't understand why. And he does feel like Alec Baldwin's
brother.
Brother, who's like, I wrote this down.
Or it could be like a Captain Holt in Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like, that was my husband. And we're like, whoa.
Hey, I'm into that. But let me. Okay, yeah, I wrote this down.
You wrote it down. Please do it.
Because I think we needed it written down. Let me try to. Yeah, here we go.
We should do a poll on the Insta to see who said it better.
That's true. Yeah.
Who described Ethan better?
This is continuing, and we'll wait for the final reckoning. But right now is the current end of our people describing Ethan Hunt in continuously more insane ways. And Shea Wiggum probably does take the cake.
He might have the best one.
Living Manifestation of Destiny is the cleanest. But this one, I'm going to read it. I literally had captions on the movie, would pause it after each sentence. This is how Shea Wiggum...
You went analog on this?
I did go analog on this. I put the work in, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And...
Stole a Russian satellite.
And okay, so this is how Shea Wiggum introduces Ethan Hunt to his other soldiers. He says, "He is not to be underestimated. A master of infiltration, deception, sabotage, and psych warfare. For all intents and purposes, ladies and gentlemen, a mind-reading, shape-shifting incarnation of chaos. Do not consider him secure unless you've driven a wooden stake through his open heart." It's the best fucking way I've ever heard someone describe a main character.
Pretty good. It kind of ones up and resets up. Oh god, Shea Wiggum's so funny in this movie. I like that his like standard bit too, his go-to move is to check for mask. Like,
it's so
to the point where I'm like, he needs to be in that new Scooby-Doo series they just announced.
He really should. He really should.
Like, no one's smarter than me and checking for masks.
Yeah, the first guy, he like, he kind of like pokes his face, but then he like grabs the inside of his mouth.
And the guy's like,
the guy is a very valid, like, what the fuck are you, like, kind of reaction.
Yeah, some poor Italian guy.
Yeah, poor guy. But yeah, I love everybody like running around trying to find Ethan, checking and all this other stuff.
How do we feel about his aviators in this movie?
Ethan's?
Yeah. I think these ones are slightly too big for his face.
They're a little too big. I was gonna say the same thing.
He looks kind of like smug in this movie. Let me Tom Cruise, who's always got that kind of Tom Cruise grin going, but like with those glasses, it's like extra funny looking.
Yeah, they're a little too big, just a little bit.
And it's like his suit's so fitted, so his glasses being a little bit oversized is kind of funny looking.
Yeah, I will say another. Obviously, he meets Haley Atwell. Another thing I love that like, we carry over from the first one. Yeah, as we all would, to be like, oh, whoa. But him doing magic again.
Yeah,
love that he's like 60 and he's like doing sleight of hand. Yeah. It's the best. I love him and his little magic. I
don't think they're doing this, but I saw like a random post on Instagram, and now I'm like was thinking about it. So he's 20 years older than Haley Atwell.
Yes.
And they're setting up this whole thing of like 30 years ago, a thing happened. You don't think this is gonna be like his daughter, right? Like that's not really the energy of this movie. I really don't want that, because I feel like that's a sure sign that this franchise is going downhill. But
I was gonna say I really hope not.
I feel like she's already like just being like sort of a successor, like having that sort of relationship. It kind of works for me, but like it's like that thing of like I feel like she's more set up to be the new love interest also. She in a way, but I'm like also feel like I can't really make heads or tails of it. Like, is she?
It feels like to me that she's just.
Are they just kind of playing it open ended and seeing what people want?
Maybe I think it is just kind of like we are introducing her as like we've never really seen someone. I guess maybe Benji, but he was already in the IMF like as like an analyst.
Yeah.
Right in 3.
I wonder what his choice was.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I've made that choice." I was like,
"You've been smoking doobies and hacking the government for too long."
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you're playing Halo 5, and we bring you along."
They're like, "Okay, your back's up against the wall. We've got you playing Halo again."
But I do think
so. You have a choice.
Ethan is a character, as we said, defined by his friends, but also maybe more specifically or broadly, probably more broadly, defined by the people that he saves, the people that he touches, like metaphorically, right? And
I hope to God.
the people that he connects with. And for him to have, I feel like Ethan's legacy is not genetic. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like philosophical.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's kind of like the Renner thing of like, no, here's like a guy that like can see like the mantra and like couldn't embody that.
I agree. And Grace as a character. Mantra? Man Ray.
At the end of the year, we're just gonna have to put a supercut together of me mispronouncing words.
It's all right. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
They're like, "Who's Farrell?"
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
That's the number one for me right now.
Is Farrell?
That's that's egregious. That shouldn't have happened at all.
And listen, the amount of times like you say something you don't. I feel like when we get a rhythm going, sometimes you know.
He's gonna guest star on this podcast and be like, "So what's up with that?" I'm sorry, man.
That would be nuts if Pharrell was on this. That's the episode we'll do with Alfred Molina about Scooby Doo.
Yes,
it'll be Alfred Molina and Pharrell.
We got to get a bigger sofa
to do Scooby Doo, or they'll just like sub in for us.
We're like, Matt's sick, so Dave's gonna be really quiet out of just the sheer awe of
we got 2 guys just to come just talk about a movie that they're not involved in
at all
in any way.
They get like really into it.
I would love that. But I think Grace is a really fun character. I really like her. I
would agree with that. She's got this. It's fun, like being like, oh, we're actually gonna like sort of reestablish like how the IMF works a little bit, and she's gonna be the one where we get to explain all that through.
They talk about like the oath, like in the beginning.
Yeah, like
right?
We've never heard about this oath before. Like presumably, like Jim Phelps, right, is the original like mentor guy.
To Ethan.
It's John Voight in the movie. It's
I can't from Airplane.
I can't
remember his name. I feel
like
terrible.
Gladiator movies. Ever seen a grown man naked?
Dude. One of my favorite performances in that movie.
I gotta look it up. That man's too good to not like actually mention his name.
But I think, Grace. I think sometimes there are characters.
Peter Graves.
Yeah, it is Peter Graves.
Who also has, speaking of Men in Black 2, he's in that one as well. He is in
Men in Black 2. Yeah, that's probably my favorite part of that movie.
Yeah,
is maybe him. One day we'll talk about those.
We'll
movies
talk about that one. I think you and
how-
I are on opposite ends on that one.
Did you rewatch it recently?
I have not, which is why I want to.
This
do
is
it at
the
some
thing
point,
is that
but...
I rewatched it like a
but
year or so
But it's like
ago.
that thing of like I grew up watching that one, so I have like the nostalgia for that one
That's
is
the
like
thing.
kind of insane.
And obviously not to say that you like, you know, will have, again, art is subjective. That was also the one I watched the most as a kid.
Really?
I had
Okay,
Men in Black 2
interesting.
on DVD, and I remember it very specifically. And watching 1 and 2 back to back, it's that thing of like 2 is just trying to be 1 way too much, and then it involves like new stuff that like.
Well, it's got the iMac aesthetic in that one.
Well, also there was a lot of like it gets way too clean. Men in
Yeah.
Black is a grungy franchise.
The first one, it's
what
so
makes
good.
it good.
It's slimy, it's dirty. The
it's
walls
the best
are
New York
great.
movie.
It is.
It's one of the best ones.
It is.
That When
okay.
Harry Met Sally, Smurfs. We've all agreed on this, right?
Ninja Turtles just edged out by Smurfs.
Yeah, out of the shadows, right?
My heart's hurting, Matt.
Hey, well, I apologize.
I've only had 3 cups of coffee today.
Hey, I had
Hey.
2. But no, I am gonna find where we're at in the movie real quick.
Let's see here. I think. Well, we talked about the submarine a little bit. We talked about the desert sequence. We talked about the politicians. We haven't really talked about Ethan like going rogue in that meeting exactly. We kind of mentioned it, but if we haven't, when the guy pulls the mask off to reveal that Ethan Hunt's in the room with them, fantastic.
Yeah,
I remember in theaters thinking like, because like at that point like 25 minutes had passed, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this movie. And then like it was like. Dush, dush, smoke everywhere, and then like da da da, and Ethan Hunt's in the room. And I was like, "This is, I'm in. I'm locked in."
The scene where I really kind of, as we continue on, like the scene that I really was like, "Oh, this is kind of where the movie is that it's like 4D chess, basically." Is Benji's scene with the bomb?
With the bomb, yeah,
And
the bomb scene's really great.
Like that, it's like this like cipher that like he has to solve all these riddles and stuff like that.
Do you think it's a better bomb defusal scene than Fallout?
No, I don't think it's
Okay.
better than Fallout.
But
Only
it's
because
like right under it, right?
I certainly think well, I just think they just serve 2 different functions.
Fair.
Like Fallout, it's like the pinnacle of the movie. It's all been leading to this. There's 3 bombs or 2 bombs or whatever.
I know I'm asking you to choose between like your children right now, but like
The
No.
first one. No, but I think this one's just different. I like that it is like, you know, we kind of already know this about Benji, but this is kind of what the entity is trying to do, right? Is it's trying to push these people to their moral like breaking point or whatever. Like not that it's trying to make them do things that they wouldn't do, but it's like really putting them under like a pressure cooker. This whole thing of like Benji's like, you know, what are the things that matter the most to you? And he says his friends and all this other stuff. And the idea that
that cipher's sweet. That's like I mean, it's like it's stressful, but
just the mechanism.
the mechanism of it's really cool. I like the way I like that. Like when he finally diffuses it with like 2 seconds, it's like, oh, this is not a real bomb.
Yeah, that it's like I'm just trying to fuck with.
Like
you.
that's got some like Heath Ledger Joker energy of
very
like,
much so.
Bang, just a big flag comes out of it.
But yeah, so
that whole airport sequence is fantastic, and then he does the great run away.
Yes.
At the end.
Oh, on the top?
Yeah, he's like running away on the top. He's got a couple more where like they're like, every time we go to a location, we just shoot Tom running.
Yeah, smart.
Just
Get
in case
the
we use
coverage.
it. Get the coverage.
Get a B unit.
a
Or
B
second unit.
Nah, I think Macquarie's like, no B unit. I'm there for all of this.
But then we go into Rome, right?
Yeah, we go to
which
Rome.
is fun.
His second time in Italy or third time?
Because
We go to Italy
second?
in one, or not one. Sorry, in the third movie he goes. Well, they go to Vatican City. Does that count?
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Yeah.
That counts.
That counts. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not like
So
it's like its own
thing, but like
it's in the region.
It's in the region.
Yeah, sure.
Like Washington D.C. is in America, so yeah.
I think for this, it counts. Yeah. For all intents and purposes. But I love seeing Grace like realize that what a Mission Impossible movie entails.
Yeah,
when they're like,
being like,
these are all your identities, and she's like, how the fuck did you guys find out about this?
She's like, my bad.
And then obviously Ethan makes another. A man of great entrances, Ethan Hunt.
He's got his folder out and his glasses, just to mock everyone.
His little cute little sunglasses.
He's such a theater kid. You know, he was like waiting behind like the. He knows what's in that. He doesn't have to pretend to read it.
He's such a.
He's like, okay, and
He's
my
so
motivation
funny.
is okay. I'm her lawyer, so he's like hiding behind like the bookcase, and then he hears the doors open. He's like, oh, arrivederci.
Oh, who me? Like kind of a thing.
Yes. You can sit down.
It's so, and I will bring this up now, but it will obviously make its way through the movie. I love the lighter being like this kind of thing, that's this little token that's kind of being passed around.
Yeah, we haven't seen that lighter in the other movies, right?
No, I don't think so. Okay. I tried to think about that too. I was like, is this
I don't think this is like
important?
Like a gag in the other ones?
No, it's not like a Han Solo blaster kind of thing.
Yeah, they're like, here's some dice, and I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, huh?
I'm like, crap, I didn't know this was a thing.
That was meant for like eagle-eyed fans, and it's like, guess what? Now it's super important. I say that it's in my car, actually. I have them hanging in my car. So
sometimes I'll park and I'll be like, is this Matt's car? Yeah, there it is. That is actual Han Solo drives.
Yeah, they are. Hey, well, my car is called L3.
Hey.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on Solo, but I'm a big fan of L3. But yeah, so obviously we get into, I think I said this in the last episode, but this car chase in Rome,
it's pretty fantastic.
I love the levels to it. Like, I love how just like it's constantly taking different right turns.
It is. I like that this one, it's like they took the chase from Fallout and then they went, okay, but what if like things weren't going well?
Yeah, it was like janky.
It was like, what if it was jankier? And then they just like, it's like they just dialed that up, and it's a lot of like, okay, we're gonna do it, but he's literally got his hand tied behind his back.
Love that. I love that.
The complications is like they watched 4 and they were like, let's do the like shit's not going well again.
Well, there's that great bit when they're like, we need to get a new car, and they're still handcuffed or whatever. And obviously they do the little visual
and a
gag.
baby booty like
zooms
out
like a tiny little car, which is a funny gag. The one that I think is funnier is what happens right after, when he goes and he runs into a wall, and she kind of looks at him and he goes, the way they set these cars up, like he's
embarrassed. I think that's what I love about Tom Cruise in this one specifically, is that he's either embarrassed or flustered, or then like it's like just a lot of like when he gets to like the big stunt at the end where he's got to jump the motorcycle, and Benji's like, well, you've got a parachute and like a motorcycle, like 2 + 2 equals you jump off a cliff, and he's like, what the hell?
Cruise is funny, man. Like,
and I like the idea of like he's acknowledging that I could die.
It is funny because he does do the most death-defying things you've ever seen, but every time he's about to do, it's like the last one where he's like, I'm jumping out a window. I'm like, you just like jumped out of a plane like yesterday. I feel like
you were hanging off a plane with no seatbelt, nothing.
I just think it's funny what Ethan is concerned about versus what he's not.
He's like stressed out again. I'm like, dude, remember when you were like jumping off like from one helicopter to another one?
Yeah, I don't say this is an inconsistency.
You barrel rolled a helicopter. You're not supposed to do that.
He's the best.
I don't think they can actually do that. But those helicopters respected him and Cavill so much that they did the barrel roll.
Yes, agreed. But no,
if there's any helicopter expert out there, I want to know if you can barrel roll on one. It sounds like something you shouldn't do, right?
Yes.
I'm not a helicopter guy.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Which I don't know what that implies about me. Like,
not being a helicopter guy.
Like, does that imply I'm a boat guy? Like, if I say that,
do you want to be?
Should I be a boat guy?
You could be.
All right, I'm a boat guy now, guys.
I'm none of them. This is kind of my only lane. It's like this, like food. I like food.
Oh, you're a food guy? Shit.
I'm not like a food. It's tough. I don't want to be that thing where it's like people are like, I'm kind of a food, like food's my thing. And it's like, it's everybody's thing. Everybody's got to eat.
All I heard was we're turning the podcast into a mukbang, and we're just going to like
That's
eat
pretty
food
good.
And make really odd noises.
I'm trying to find a name. I had these set up. We were off air one time and I dropped like 6 of them.
Yeah, you had like a list.
And now I can't remember any of them.
We need one more plate.
That's pretty good. We need one more serving.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We should do one where we do the podcast in Spanish.
We need one corn. It's about vegetables.
Hey.
We need one corn. Or heavy metal. We need one corn with a K.
I was like, what?
Yeah, sorry. I felt like I needed to explain that one.
No, thank you for that. I was like, what?
Yeah. But I think
Woodstock 99.
Hey, there we go. But no, I think this is one of my favorite chases. Like, it's really is.
Good. It's a really good chase, especially when like they're like, okay, her car stalled. Let's get out of here, Haley. And she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. She's just going in circles.
Yeah. Then she's like, the car's on fire. He's like, it's not on fire. It's the tires.
It's like real Talladega Nights. She's like, save me, Tom Cruise. Save me.
It's so good. And like when the car is flipping and then they like lands and they're in each other's seats.
They swap
and they're
seats.
how did we do that?
And she's like, oh, no.
Again, this is where I'm like, I say this is a love thing. It's a little silly. Like, it's a little silly, but it's fun.
But I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I feel like
agree.
it's kind of what makes Mission Impossible so much fun is that they do little things like that.
I will say this is not really a critique, just like a thing that when this chase ends, right? It's the train thing where he's like trying to get out. The dramatic tension of that does not really work for me.
No, because he teleports.
Yeah, because it's like, you're obviously not going to run a train through Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'm like, yeah, we're not deep enough into this movie.
Him walking around with a steering wheel handcuffed to his hand,
trying to make it casual,
is kind of worth it for me.
Kind of made up for like that being kind of like a BS moment.
Again, it's a thing where it's like, yeah, maybe cut that beat, but I'm also like, I like him just like holding it and being like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, the cops, he's like, I'm driving.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a bad improv.
Puts it up. Like,
he's like, shame on you, Ethan.
Yeah, like that stuff. I'm like, well, I like that. That's pretty fun. It kind of makes it work
really
for
speaks
me.
to like, again, like the theater kid part of him where he's like, oh, what's my choice? What's my choice?
No, I completely agree.
I'm like, we've all had that moment on stage. You're like, okay, do something. That's not a thing.
Nope. But then this kind of starts then to lead us into the nightclub, which we talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, the nightclub.
Again, a ton of aura. Everybody's showing up. White
Widow's
showing up.
Everyone's got drip.
Even Zola is back.
Zola's back.
Love Zola being back.
That guy's fun. I want to see him
He
do
is
some
fun.
things. I feel like somehow they're going to sneak him in and he's going to end up being like an Aquaman or something like that.
Being Aquaman?
Maybe. I don't know. He's there.
Got the look.
He's like a blonde dude. He's vaguely good looking, I guess. I don't know.
He's pretty good looking.
Probably not who's going to be it, but you know, hey.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. But yeah, I think what I like about this nightclub scene is like, well, one, it is the midpoint of the movie. This is the midpoint, which is we get to have all of our characters that we've met and watch them run around.
Everyone's
Rome,
like
all come
meeting,
to a head.
and it feels like an anime when they all meet. Like even,
it does.
Like was Paris like pulls out her sword, like, yeah, I'm here. Look at me,
dude. How we haven't introduced swords earlier into this franchise,
I know,
feels crazy because
there should be some more fencing matches, I think, in this series.
When I'll just get to it now because we're so close to it. When Ilsa pulls that sword, I was like, look, I'm bummed she dies, but that she goes out with a fucking sword on a bridge in Rome, that's so cool. Like
above the canal.
When she like just unsheaths it, I was like, yeah, man, that's the stuff. That's so good.
It's got the sauce.
It does have the sauce.
I think I would mention that Zola came back, but not White Widow.
I said White Widow. Yeah, I said White Widow and her brother.
Ignore me. We're too deep to cut this, bud.
No, it's all right. But I do love them finding a way to put her in here because she is like she's
fantastic.
like I'm a. That's not it. That's the Spider-Man one. What a great theme.
I have no falsetto today, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Not that I do that frequently in this show, but
I hum that actually sometimes in the car.
Yeah,
because I do listen to it. I think it's really good.
It's like that and the Superman, the John Murphy Superman.
I hadn't listened to that forever, and then I was driving, and like it just like came up on my like liked songs, and I was like, oh shit, and I just put the volume all the way up. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be reckless for a second. I was like, this music's too good. John Murphy, what are you doing to me, man? But
he's like, I'm making some art.
I do want to point out this line. Truth is vanishing, war is coming in the nightclub scene. Boy, you ever have that thought every morning when you open up the news?
No, only on Mondays.
That's not a loaded line, right? That's not in correlation to anything else.
Going on.
Or I'm just going to lean into us being vaguely political.
Never, not in this show.
Yeah, vaguely.
Vaguely.
In the sense that we don't discuss it more than 5 seconds, but we're pretty clear on our stance. But yeah, I just like it when characters come together and get to just like talk shop. Like I like again the aura of it, everybody's personality.
Guess everyone bouncing off each other.
Ethan just straight up calls the entity a god. He's like, I'll kill you and your god.
He's like, I'm coming for God in this one.
It's great.
Like, whoa. Whoa.
Yeah,
Little G.
Yeah, little G. It's an AI. But obviously his name is Gabriel. It's pretty. We're making
the metaphors
a reference.
are there.
Yeah, he's the messenger.
I said that like it's a bad thing. I'm here for it.
No, I like it too. Well, that's the thing. I'm like, yeah, he's fighting a technological religion. I don't know how to say it without making it sound a little technolava.
Hey, technolava, we're back, baby.
We're just creating bits.
Yes,
that's what we're doing.
The entity predicted this.
Yes.
That's why we're 5 episodes ahead.
That's true. That's true. I do want to, yeah. So then obviously then everybody kind of breaks off because Gabriel's like, by tomorrow, I'll have the key. And he sets up one of y'all is going to die.
Yeah.
It's you or you.
Which lady will lead the franchise next?
Yeah. It's like, well, you got to decide. And
Rebecca Ferguson's like reading the script for Dune in the, oh shit.
Yeah. She's like, here's the thing.
She's like, about that.
I do love in the chase that the entity pretends to be Benji.
That like blew my mind. I was like, that's such a great and scary choice.
Well, I remember
it's like guiding him away instead. Like
like being in the theater and being like, oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
I'm like, that made AI really scary for me.
Oh yeah, both in the movie and in real life. When you see people and they're like, hey, this is real, and it's like you realize that like this is like definitely not real. Like one of these people has like 4 hands on one like forearm. Like
and it's getting better every day.
That's true. Although I saw one the other day, it was like a podcast. It was like, this doesn't even look like AI, and I watched it and I was like, this is definitely AI. I was like, this is AI. I don't know what to tell you guys. But I love seeing it kind of like corrupt Ethan and his team and like throw them around. Love the fight over the canal, the one with Haley Atwell and the one with
Gabriel's he's not very gentlemanlike, just throwing people around.
No, he's a bad guy. He's a really bad dude.
Is he the bad guy? No.
I don't know how to tell you this. But
I was rooting for him to win. I was really mad at the end.
Again, I say this as I say that this is all love, but again, a hokey line. When Ethan finds out that it's not Benji, it's the entity. Ethan says, "You aren't Benji." And then the entity says, "This isn't Benji, but you are done." Just like throwing puns. Like the entity's like wants to be funny.
Yeah, going back to the bomb moment where that did that. That's
pretty done. Funny.
Yeah.
It's the same joke again.
So it's cheeky. It
is a little cheeky.
The entity's like knock knock. We're like,
I clocked it for the first time in this, and I literally was at my house, and I was like, "Oh my god, you are not making fun of his last name, bro." Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So we got that. I was gonna say, so Ilsa dies.
Ilsa does die.
She takes a knife.
It's a great fight.
Do you think she's like dead? Do you think she'll come back? Do you think she faked her death because she knew that the entity wanted her dead? So she like faked it out.
It's
like, I know I can take a knife and everyone will think I'm dead, and then I can jump in and fuck up the algorithm.
It's tough because it's like I think
probably not.
Mission Impossible is a franchise of actually no, like kind of a thing. You know? So like it's not that there's certainly not precedent. I mean, Michelle, we in Mission Impossible 3, you think Michelle Monaghan was like shot point blank, and then it's not Michelle Monaghan, it's someone else. I think with
some day player.
Yeah, that poor day player.
With love.
And I think with Rebecca Ferguson's comments of just being like, I have a lot going on. Like it feels like she is done, which is, just not to be too meta about it, but it feels like she did want to be able to do her own thing from the franchise. And I do also think with a death like that, it is that thing that's tough where it's like, if you do undo that, it then just becomes...
It's like the X-Men.
Yeah, kind of.
No
like
one
it's
can
like
die.
you can only kill Professor X so many times before I'm like, it's basically a nap.
Okay, so what if Ilsa comes back as Doctor Doom, though? She's got Technolava.
Avengers Faust Day.
Something Silo.
Yeah. Avengers v Silo. Dawn of
Don't know what's
Ferguson.
going on in that show, but
I don't know. I hear it's good.
Something about grain. And
I think Tim Robinson is, or not Tim Robbins. It's not
Tim
Tim Robinson.
He's like, I'm trapped in a silo. Dang it.
But no, I'm
doing something.
It's not that there's not precedent for it to be a fake out death, but I do feel like she's really gone.
I think she is too. I think that's like it's like the thing of like something with this death. I'm like, it's not super satisfying. It doesn't feel very heroic, even though she does show up to like save Haley Atwell. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like the character's so strong. I feel like the whole thing just feels like a slap in the face a little.
I get that. I have tried to.
And I know like meta, like Rebecca Ferguson was just kind of like, I'm just going to do other things. Thanks for having me. And they had to write her out basically. But I'm like, I don't know. This one just doesn't, I don't vibe with it.
There is part of me, because this is me trying to make sense of it, I suppose, for myself, is that I'm like, Ethan is, as we've said, is defined by a person. He says it in a sec where I'll actually just, I think I have the line written. Ethan says, this is his character. He says, your life will always matter more than my own. And then he says, you don't, and she says, you don't know me. And he says, what difference does that make? Ethan is so like about just saving people that everybody means so much to him, right? That the value, and Ilsa, he is one of the people he cares about the most. And so there's part of me that trying to make sense of it is like, Ilsa, it is such an underwhelming death, and that's almost the point. That it's like Ethan is,
she deserved better.
She is that that it's
story.
like that it is like she is gone like due to the entity. I think that it said, they bring it up in the movie, that it's like the entity is scared of one person, and that is Ethan Hunt, because Ethan Hunt is the only person that doesn't want to control it.
Yeah.
And so it is putting its back against the wall, and so it's trying to tell him like, hey, you care about all these people. Guess what? We're just gonna kill one of them. Like, you know what I mean? And so I don't know if I'm reaching, if I am doing gymnastics for the movie's sake, but that is kind of how I see it. That the entity is like, we're tossing one of these people to the side, and you care so much about these people that us just like getting them out of here is what's gonna like is part of it. You know what I mean?
I feel that. I mean, it's like the thing of like it does like work really well later, especially when like Haley Atwell has to go into the train by herself and all that, and is like, promise me you'll be there, and he's like, I can't promise anyone like that they'll be safe when we do this, but like I could promise you like your life matters more to me, like like you said. But yeah, no, it's just like I guess I just attached the character.
No, same. I don't say that to say that I disagree. I certainly feel the same way every time I was like trying to forget while we were watching 5 and 6 that I was like, no, Ilsa's still alive. But yeah, unfortunately she does not make it out of this. No. And we get the great.
Do they share a kiss? Not to get like, because they have to, but like they don't ever.
I don't know if they do.
Despite like basically going on a couple of dates in these movies.
Yeah, there is also a reference that maybe Ethan had like relations with the White Widow. Because remember, they're like, oh, well, like you settled that thing with the White Widow,
really,
and she's like,
Daredevil his way around.
He really is trying to Daredevil. We were talking about this off air.
We're done off air, but
Daredevil's
a little bit of a hoe.
Yeah, Daredevil's got a body count.
He's got a body count. We got that, Riz.
But yeah, like Rebecca Ferguson has some line where she's like, you never told me how you settled that with her, and they don't say what the answer is.
He's like, let's not talk about that. He's like, I did it for you.
But yeah, so we get this whole like, I do love Luther being the guy to initiate. Like, it's like when you need someone to talk about what Mission Impossible movies are, you get Luther. Yeah. Like, he always sits down. Like, obviously, Benji and Ethan have lines in this scene, but it starts with Luther being like, listen, this is
Here
the
are
series.
The stakes. Here's what we have to do. Also, you're going to remember to not kill this guy, right? Even when you're looking him in the eye, you're not going to kill him, right?
Ethan, you need to realize you're playing into its hand. If you kill him, don't kill him.
He's like, I do what I want.
Question. So the mask machine breaks, right?
Yeah.
Are we to assume the entity is who breaks it?
It kind of feels like it, but I don't
never
know how
explained.
It would. It doesn't seem to be like the kind of device that you could break through the internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, because there's that whole thing where my thought is that I'm maybe just reading too much into it, and it's just meant to be like a joke that advances the plot, because that Luther is going, Ethan, don't kill him and stick to the fucking plan. And then the next line is Benji going, the machine broke. So like,
part of me is like wondering if they're going to reveal that like Benji broke it on purpose because they knew they needed Haley Atwell to do the thing by herself, because like something like the entity only has so much planned out. If we can throw some of our own chaos into it, it actually changes what people are doing.
Maybe, but I feel like
I feel like that's really complicated. Like,
well, I also feel like because I like that, but I'm like, if that was the device, I feel like you would put it in here, right? You wouldn't. That would be the whole thing, is that it's like, well, we're taking it to the entity.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess. I don't know. It's just that thing of like, I feel like it's like we have to be smarter than it. We got to think like it, and we got to do an extra step. But like,
because they do the
but I don't know. But yeah, there seems to be no reason for it to break other than the plot just demands that Tom Cruise has to drive a motorcycle off a cliff.
Yeah. Which, look, I'm all for.
Which is fine.
It's
if
a great
that's all
stunt.
it is, but
But yeah, and obviously we have the great we have the bit where, you know, we show what the plan should be, and it cuts to Haley Atwell, and she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
The way that like starts to happen, and it's kind of like they've done this before, where they're like, "We're showing you how the heist ideally goes," and then it's like it ends, and it's like Ethan's like, "It's me. I was Zolo the whole time. I have the key. Parachute away," and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" And Tom Cruise is like, when it cuts back, he's like mewing, and I'm like, imagining him explaining everything, like, and then obviously I take it to parachute, I dramatically rip it. I imagine he's doing it like Jake Peralta in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep. We have the same thought.
I remove the mask, then I'm there. I'm so fucking cool, and then they're like, "Whoa, what are you saying right now?"
Cool.
And he's like, sorry. Cool.
But
which is like meta. I'm like, him explaining these plots of like all the cool shit he has to go. I'm like, it's a good thing they show it instead of him like explaining it, because you'd just be like, this fucking guy.
Yeah, I also love because we now move into the train.
Yeah,
I love Degas, as we said, is a character that he kind of just like in the background for most of the movie. He gets a little bit more time to shine in the train thing, specifically the scene where
he gets to Jiminy Cricket, Shea Wiggum.
Yeah, well, him just being like he's like, well, Ethan went rogue, and Shea Wiggum being like, he always goes rogue.
Him and his band of circus freaks go rogue every other weekend.
And he's like, well, have you ever considered that he had a good reason? And there's like that, like,
he's like, no,
I've never thought about that. And I won't think about that until I see Kittredge on this train.
until I see my boss. Then he's like,
it's such a good moment where he's like, Kittredge.
Kittredge is like, I'm not here.
What are you doing here?
It's like some like Danny DeVito energy, like, oh, I'm not here.
Yeah, I also a beat that I really love.
I said that like Beetlejuice. That was not a good Danny DeVito impression.
Listen, we gotta fight the entity.
We gotta fight the entity.
Well, I'm a member of the IMF.
I went to Juilliard. I'm a theater kid.
We're just gonna do a Beetlejuice podcast.
I'm also wearing a mask. Now I'm Tom Cruise. Now I'm Ian again.
Beetlejuice would do a mask bit.
he would. I'm also Alec Baldwin.
It would be him, and then he'd be Batman, and he'd be like, "That's a little too much." And then he'd do it again. He'd be Beetlejuice.
But
again.
he's Harry. I'm eating spaghetti. Batman.
Yeah. That's pretty good. It's Lego Batman.
Oh shit.
But
he's Will Arnett Batman, but not Lego Batman. He's a State Farm
State
Batman,
Farm, where he voices over the guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's not him in the suit.
No, it's not.
That explains why that guy looks so good in the suit.
He looks good in that
I was
suit.
like, if that's Will Arnett in the suit, he looks incredible and should
be.
I was
like,
like, did he just audition for James Gunn's Brave and the Bold?
Hey,
because I was kind of here for it. I won't lie.
Arnett, it has a fantastic. We've talked about this. He has an incredible.
He brings
Batman.
that like Adam West thing to it.
Yeah, he nails
in
it.
Like the Lego Batman movies, and I'm kind of not opposed to that being.
I want to do the
Brave
Lego
and the Bold
Batman movie one day on this podcast.
We should,
just because that movie's really, really funny.
Yeah.
But
we'll do all the Lego ones, and we'll get Pharrell.
I would love that, and I'll tell my Lego Ninjago story.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. It's not that sad. Don't worry.
Was it a matinee?
It was a matinee. But now, man, then maybe it is sad. But I love this character beat with the White Widow where she shows up on the train, right? And then she's like, don't let anybody come in. And she goes in, and there's that moment where she looks shaken, and she's really nervous. And watching it, I feel like you go, oh, she's already Haley Atwell, right? Because it's her trying to be settled into being to this character. Mm-hmm. And then when we reveal that it's her, it's like
she walks in with brown eyes, and you're like, oh, that's Haley Atwell.
Yeah, and it becomes this really interesting character beat of like, oh, the White Widow has dropped her persona. Like you get to see her for the first time, like in private.
She takes off her metaphorical mask.
That's true. Well, we all wear masks, metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically speaking.
But yeah, like I don't
We're
remember
gonna have to do
that.
the mask on this too.
Oh, we should, because Son of the Mask was also one of those DVDs that I had.
Yeah, I only watched that movie like once, but I remember every scene.
I had Son of the Mask on DVD, and then The Mask was on VHS at my granddad's house.
I have somewhere in a box. I have The Mask on VHS somewhere.
Dude, I love The Mask. We'll talk about it.
We'll
We've always talked about what we would want to see more of that.
We'll do that at the end. We'll do a I need one more.
Yeah, I would like to do this. Please let us do The Mask. But I love that beat. I think that's such an interesting thing that it's like.
I think it's great, and it also enhances, because again, we've talked a lot about how like a lot of the women are kind of underserved in this movie, but it's like there's in this one they're kind of finding ways to give everyone more to do.
Well, yeah, it's like,
but like the cost of that is Rebecca Ferguson, who had the most to do.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it is one of those things where like even obviously the movie is trugging along, it still has more to do, but when she has that moment of like doubt and like nervousness, I'm like, wait, keep following her. I want to see this.
Yeah,
like,
let's go back.
I want to learn more about this, especially because Kirby is such a good actor.
Also, in this thing, Zola's a terrible brother.
Zola is
for not recognized as like, well, your eyes brown. Like.
Also, Kittredge is bad at his job for him to be in a conversation with the White Widow. He works for the IMF. He knows about all the mask shit. Ethan wore his own face 3 days ago.
Oh, we didn't talk about that. His escape from the like.
Oh,
like
we
that,
touched on it a little
well,
bit.
No, but like we talked about him removing the mask, but when he escapes that scene, like moments later, he puts on Kittredge's face. He's like, "How are you gonna get out of here?" And he's like, "Oh," and he's just him.
It's so good. But like,
it's such a nice like. Nah.
But like Kittredge saw that happen, so then when he meets with the White Widow, and the White Widow is like, we will continue with this deal. I have one new caveat. Free this specific woman. And he's like, let her like do all this stuff. And then she's like, save her from everybody, including myself. In fact, I won't even remember we've had this conversation.
And he's like, right. He's like, cool.
Like, cool. Yeah, like I was like, I don't mind that Grace is like new to this.
Up and maybe has object permanence issues like a baby.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, he must, because
Tom Cruise doesn't even need the mask. He just needs to put his hands up in front of his face.
Yeah, to Shark Tale, just like.
And he's like, where'd he go? And everyone's like.
He has to be bad at his job for that to happen, and for him to be like, "Yep, that's definitely the White Widow." Like, that definitely couldn't be anybody else.
I've only been in this game for 30 years.
He's like, it's such a funny beat. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's a flaw.
It's bad, but also like when you think about like how like he's a career politician. Kind of works for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I'm like, that's where this works.
Like this man's so failed upward, it is hilarious.
I do love us also bringing Cary Elwes back into the fold, albeit for 5 minutes.
Yes,
he delivers the shit out of that monologue.
He does,
and then we kill him.
Yeah,
which fair.
Which I don't. Who's playing Perry White again? Superman.
Wendell Pierce.
Okay,
yeah,
that's a good.
The great Wendell Pierce.
I was gonna say like Cary Elwes being like, we need pictures of Superman. Like Elwes I feel like we go really hard.
Elwes would be good. I mean, he should be in loads. Yeah. Elwes is such a good actor.
He should be Knox in the Brave and the Bold. They should just bring him in as like a reporter trying to get photos of the Batman.
That's pretty good. That's
he's older than the other guy who did it in the original.
I am trying to think. He'd be good like Polka Dot Man.
Whoa,
Cary Elwes. Like imagine him doing the like Hannibal Lecter behind the glass.
Yeah.
Be kind of cool.
Opposed to David. No, wait. What's it?
Sean Gunn.
No, because that's not the Polka Dot Man. That's
Calendar Man. I'm sorry, Calendar Man.
I will take Calendar. Yes, I will take a Calendar Man.
I flubbed that.
I was like, wait, no, who's in?
Yeah, no, David Dastmalchian. If he should stick around as Polka Dot Man if he comes back from the dead. But the Calendar Man is who I said.
We cloned him for no other reason than we thought he deserved a second chance.
Elvis would have been a good Joker too. He's probably a little too old.
Yeah, he's probably a little old.
But he would have been really good.
He would have been.
He's good in everything.
He's really good.
He's great as the mayor in Stranger Things season 3. Yeah. He's like, I'm the Jaws mayor from Jaws.
I've got anchors on my suit. I've got little demigorgons all over this thing.
Also, one of the moments in the theater when we saw this that I just like cheered was when I realized that Paris was gonna turn and was gonna be good.
When she turns heel.
Yeah, dude. I was so stoked about that because again, I love Palm.
I was like those little details are what makes this movie like more interesting, in surprising, but not in like a. Because like this movie, like the Mission Impossible movies are so kind of famous for like the twists and the reveals of like, well, we figured it out before you thought we couldn't, and now I've been wearing a mask the whole time. Like obviously we have like big reveals, but like little twists of like just someone who's a bad guy being like, I'm gonna do the right thing, really interesting. Yeah, like I'm not completely morally fucked for lack of better words,
and
like,
that the entity is like. Right, like
you
know what I mean.
Thought this could happen.
Yeah, like I love Palm's little realization when she's not dying. Yeah. When she does the like et voila like kind of a thing where she realizes she's like like I am good now. Like I am on your side.
She's like I'm surprised too.
Yeah. Fuck. Wait.
But I thought you were gonna pipe my head in that alleyway and you didn't.
That's such a great beat. I do. Yeah, that alleyway fight is so good.
That alleyway fight is.
I love
awesome.
how claustrophobic it is. Like it's so tense. And yeah, when he doesn't kill her, and the look on her face when they hold on her, I was like, dude, that's money in the bank. Yeah. That's why you cast her.
Yeah. But yeah, so she turns heel. I mean, we're getting a little head up because Tom Cruise still has to ride the motorcycle.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should probably talk about how great that stunt is.
That's the big stunt, and it's fantastic. I saw this movie twice in theaters. I know when we saw it, everyone literally went,
yeah, tense
and held their breaths, and I can confirm it happened the second time I watched it.
Fair.
And that was like in I think the last week of his run. I just went back and saw it because some people I knew hadn't seen it, and I went and saw it with them, and same thing. Everyone like held their breath a second time.
Well, I love the cut too when it cuts to him falling, because it's like, and then it goes like as he's like trying to fuck people up who are listening, but like. I just remember being in the theater and like jumping because it's such a loud noise.
I think that was an Edgar Wright suggestion.
Great suggestion.
I think he saw a rough cut of the film and was like, "You should change the audio right there."
Scare the shit out of everybody.
Because everyone's gonna be like,
"Well, it's that
puckered," and then it's like, "Ah!"
And then I love when Tom just crashes through the train.
He Kool-Aid Man's his ass right through that train.
And then again, Tom's so funny, man. He crashes through that thing, and she's looking at him, and he goes, "Grace," like he just like says her name.
It's like, "Hey,
like what's up?
Oh,
like,
you're here."
Kind of a thing.
I didn't think you'd be in this car.
It's so good.
She's like, "You saved me." He's like, "I did."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, these guys
planned the shit out of this." Also, that moment where Benji has to like put the AI driving on and he gets in the car. I think that's a moment that there's no room to do the entities taking over his car in this.
Yeah.
But like when he did it, I was like, Is the entity going to take over his car? That
Honestly,
seems like
fair.
ill-advised.
I didn't even think about that till just now.
Yeah. Every time I've seen this movie, when that happens and he gets in the passenger seat and he's like, buckles it, I'm like, I mean...
You think it's going to Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron is like, "I've controlled all the cars, by the way.
Yeah.
Your Kia Sport is
She's
mine."
like, "I'm Vin Diesel's sister, maybe, lover." No,
We
she
gotta
makes
watch
that with
this
him.
movie.
She's ex-lover.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
John Cena's somehow his brother.
John Cena is his brother. One day we'll talk about
He's not a
those
half-brother, right?
movies.
I've never seen these movies.
I've never seen it. I've only seen the scene that we're basically here. I auditioned for the young John Cena.
Oh my god, I forgot.
In Fast and Furious.
Yeah, you sent in a self-tape.
I was in person.
Oh,
I went
no,
in
it
person
wasn't
to
in
audition.
person. Yeah.
I auditioned for young John Cena. I didn't know that it was John's. I didn't sign an NDA too, so I can say this. But I
did though.
Well, there is an audition that I did sign an NDA for that I can't talk about on this podcast, but it does relate to this podcast.
You made me sign an NDA.
I did. I made everybody sign an NDA except Dish. He'll say everything right now.
He's our ace in the hole.
Yeah, he is.
That's our leverage.
He's actually writing it all out, and he's just showing it to Dave off camera. But I auditioned for young John Cena.
None of my thoughts are my own. Dish has fed me every line I've ever said.
It's just like Wally on SNL. You just got the cue cards.
I'm like, fuck you, San Diego.
Hell yeah.
You can't do that.
Like, why did you say that? You poop mouth. But I auditioned for young John Cena.
That was an Anchorman reference. If people are just like, what the hell is he saying?
Yeah, we're referencing Anchorman.
Just go watch Anchorman. You'll figure it out.
But the scenes I read were flashbacks, and they don't talk about if they're half brothers or full brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't watch the movie. I missed it, not out of spite. I just missed it in theaters because I just was doing other stuff. And then I saw it on a plane. I saw like someone watching it in front of me, which is when I realized that I was.
Could have been me.
Because it was they gave it the character under a different name. It didn't say young John Cena or.
The lines were like, "Oh
it
no,
didn't
we
say
got
the
some
character's
Cuban
name.
nos. Want to nos this, nos that."
It wasn't like, "You can't see me," Dom.
He was like, "Quick, Indy, throw me the nos."
Yeah. I definitely should not have gotten that part, but
and then little Vin Diesel was like, "It's a radio for talking to nos."
I still think they should.
I know I'm doing Indiana Jones.
The George Lopez bit. That's how they should have done those flashbacks. That's my thing.
Oh, with like the big heads.
Yeah, it's like little kids, and then they're just their heads.
It's just superimposed. I'm here for it.
But yeah, one day we'll get into those movies and we'll figure it out.
It's gonna be a long series.
Auditioned for the movie, and I don't even know what their familial relationship is really.
They're like, no, we're 100% blood related.
Yeah, that checks out.
I have a spray tan now.
I love that it ends with another fight on top of a train. Again, going back to this, like we're relating it back to the first movie.
We're gonna redo it, but we're gonna up the stakes a little bit. Way.
And Ethan almost kills Gabriel because he's mad, basically.
Yeah.
Not to dumb it down.
Because he maybe killed his original true love.
Yeah, he killed Ilsa. He's maybe killed this original woman who we don't really know enough
her name's
about.
Like Marie.
I'm sure we'll get into it in Final Reckoning.
I'm assuming.
It feels like one of the like.
Also,
if they
I love
don't
that they
address
didn't
it,
de-age Tom Cruise for those scenes. He's just like in shadow.
Yes, they almost did. Right, is the whole thing is that they were going to do it, and then they were like, "This is a bad idea," especially given what the narrative of this movie is.
Tom Cruise is like, "Have you not picked up what I'm throwing down in this movie?"
Yeah. Also, Tom Cruise like basically looks the same. Like it's like just maybe light him a little differently, and it's like, great, you're there. He's 30 years younger.
But yeah, I'm disappointed he doesn't have his like ultra short haircut from the first movie though.
It's a little similar. It's like I think it's
a little long in the flashback, right?
Or sorry, not in the flash. I mean in the rest of the movie.
In the rest of the movie,
flashback,
he has
it's
kind
longer.
of like Mission 1 hair, but in the flashback he's got not 2, but like
a mix of 2 and 4.
It's like just shy of
a
5, I
scruffier
guess.
2. But yeah, like we're basically getting close to the movie at this point.
We got that.
Shea Wiggum is the one who stops
him, and then he does like a clock king. I fall off the train perfectly.
Yeah. Which then we get the final beat of Ethan has pickpocketed.
He's pickpocketed
with the lighter.
A lot of pickpocketing in this movie.
Asad Morales nails that Ethan like a
so
true
good.
60s like
so
Batman villain.
Good, yeah.
Just just unloads that Ethan. It's so good.
It's like it goes Jason Lee, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and then him.
That's that honestly
right under there.
Fair. Valid. Alvin and Ethan. It's the N at the end. You need that, and you can drag that out.
It's a vowel by an en.
Yes, you're right.
En inflection.
Yeah, no, that's all that makes sense.
And then I mean we have like the whole train escape, which is fantastic.
The train escape is you talk about like the tension of like the stunt. I remember being in the theater. I only saw this once in the theater, but I do remember seeing this with you and everybody being so tense.
Tense.
It's so like
it's so anxiety inducing.
Well, it's also like kind of, I don't want to say darkly comedic because it's not like it's like cynical, but it is like
it's got a weird sense of humor. Like,
it's a little.
They're like looking up and there's a piano. Like that'll ruin your day.
Like Haley Atwell was like lit on fire at one point. There's like pots and pans of hot soup falling down and all this other stuff.
He's like, I gotta jump across, and she's like, nope, I'm gonna grab you again. He's like, nope, you have to let go, or you're gonna kill me.
Yeah, he's like, listen, there's a way to do this. I've done a movie. I've done these movies. You're new to this.
Like, I've done this. He's like, this is what we do. You don't touch me, and I jump, and then you jump.
I do remember when we get to the car train, and then they reveal the piano. I remember being in the theater, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. That's
a pretty fantastic
reveal. My god, that it's literally a piano. That's like, so funny.
That's some Looney Tunes.
It's real Tex Avery, like cartoon kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I say with love. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Pretty fantastic.
It feels like a labyrinth almost. It just feels like just the trials.
It is. It's a really well constructed sequence, and it's like that thing of like I feel like kind of going into this one as we start to wrap up and ask this question that we're always asking if we need one more.
That's right.
It's like fun that this series is like, oh, we're gonna do another fight on a train, or we're gonna do another car chase, and in a weird, historical ancient place. Like it's just funny that they've essentially tread over similar ground multiple times in this franchise, but they have found ways to make it feel fresh, which is really interesting, and like kudos to them, because I think it is like the key to the longevity of this series is they've never really done the same thing twice.
Well, I think even
though they're in similar territories,
I think they and themselves.
Yeah.
For those who maybe are not aware, right? Who don't do improv or theater or like that. Yes, and is kind of a basic rule of improv where you never negate something that someone's throwing at you. Mm-hmm. You agree with it, and then you add to it. And it's like...
Which is the reason Anchorman 2 does not work, but anyway.
Yes, and why Anchorman 1 works.
Why Anchorman 1 is so good, yeah.
But yeah, like this is...
Anchorman 2 is still really funny. It's just not nearly as iconic.
I've only seen the battle scene.
Well, maybe we'll do it.
Which is pretty funny.
The battle scene's pretty good. Hey, he's got a gun from the future.
There will be a mint julep waiting for you on the other side. I quote that often.
That's the best part.
Nobody knows what I'm quoting. I did it at work, and people were like, just like looked at me funny.
I'm so proud of this. I get Abby to do that. We haven't done it in a minute, and now it's gonna happen again because you reminded me. But I got her doing that. Like she's done that to me, and I was like so proud. I was like,
release your soul to me. It's so
your
good.
soul will be mine.
but this movie really sets up. I mean, again, it's a part 1, part 2. It ends on a cliffhanger. It literally ends with like an Optimus Prime. Like,
Yeah, is that
what are we
Kittredge
gonna
giving
do?
the monologue?
It is
right?
Kittredge.
I was like, it sounds like him, but
yeah, of him being
didn't
like,
actually see him giving it at any point in that like wrap up.
yeah, I don't know where, like, oh my gosh, what's the word that I'm looking for? Diegetically or non-diegetically,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
where it's coming from.
Yeah, it seemingly is like him leaving a message for Ethan that he is, I'm assuming, going to listen to in the next movie.
Yeah.
Because he seems to be addressing Ethan in that final monologue.
It really feels like this should Back to the Future 2 to be continued, play the trailer for Back to the Future 3
Yeah.
kind of thing.
It's just the biplane bit that they've been going on.
Like that.
There's a guy that's like, Ethan Hunt.
Dude, that'd be...
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan's
We've
like...
been taking bets seeing if you'd actually show up.
Ethan's like, Frisbee, far out.
There's some guy in the train like, I think he stole that guy's wallet.
That's pretty good. The hell is CPR? Oh, that's... it's,
I forgot about that line.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is kind of the more obvious one where it's like, yes, I think we need one more because it's not done.
Yeah, this one, it's like
I don't want to say it's
this one
half a
has
movie,
like
but,
demanded
like,
we do another one, and it's
It's
such
more
a
like-
fun watch. It's so engaging.
Yeah.
I know I've like talked shit on like the first 20, 30 minutes, but it's like
Such
it's just
a small part.
It's just a pacing issue for me.
Yeah.
I don't even hate what I'm watching. I'm just like because these movies usually are pretty quick and snappy, and this one kind of really takes its time.
Yeah.
So it's like it. But that being said, like this movie's like by the time it ends, I'm like, already? Oh my god! Like the world's still not safe. The mission is not technically completed. We've only done half the mission at this point.
Yeah, it's oddly both chaotic and like self-reflective
Very self-reflective
at the same time, which I think is cool. I like
Yeah.
that. I think it's very. I think yeah, like camera-wise, I think it's very kinetic, and I think it's very kind of like
Mhm.
not intense. Like I'm not like stressed in a way that I would in like a thriller, but it is like a little hard. Like it's a little uneasy. But then at a lot of times, like thematically, yeah, and all that stuff, it's very internal and self-reflective and
Yeah.
about legacy and
Yeah.
passing it on.
Where we
to
come
people.
from.
I mean, it starts.
How we die.
There's 2 new recruits in this. There's the person that gives Ethan the mission and Grace.
Yeah.
You know, it ends with Grace. Grace is not to say like secret protagonist, right? Like a Back to the Future, but like
Mhm.
she kind of is. Like she has her
Yeah.
own arc. She,
Backdoor.
Kind of backdoor pilot, yeah. But yeah, I certainly think it's that thing of it's not a question of do we need one more because they told us that no matter what we're getting one.
We're
right?
getting one.
It's good that the movie's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I think we're always trying to figure out that question just sort of narratively speaking. Can we do one more? Should we do one more? And it's like given that like Ethan didn't really have a backstory, it didn't really matter where he come from, and then like 7 movies later they're like, okay, we're actually going to talk about this though now because it's become important, is interesting because it has sort of demanded one more.
Well, I think, and this is something that I'm not to speculate or like say that this is what needs to happen in the final reckoning, but I think it is interesting that as Ethan grows in age, that we learn more about him, that it's almost like as he's like reaching the end, that he's becoming self-reflective,
Mhm.
that when he's young and he's on all his missions, he's just like mission to mission, just kind of bebopping around,
Yeah.
or rock steadying around if you're crazy. But sorry. But
No, it was a 10 out of 10.
thanks, man. But yeah, I think, you know, Ethan it's like he's kind of reaching, I don't want to say the end of his rope because I think Tom Cruise could do this until he's 1,001 years old.
I think he will.
He'll probably outlive all of us. But it does feel like Ethan is at a point where like things are wrapping up.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like we're getting into that I'll be surprised if they do this, but it kind of feels like we're setting up the death of Ethan Hunt a little bit.
I don't think the final reckoning is this is my current
And
theory.
I don't know
right?
that is. I think they want us to think.
Yeah,
that,
they want us to think he's
but-
gonna die.
But like honestly though, like I mean, Tom Cruise is getting older,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's like one of those things. Like, is this a character who gets to walk away in the sunset, or is he someone that goes down saving the world?
It's tough because Ethan is a character where it's like, and they do this with 3, where it's like Ethan isn't really a guy who can just like have a normal life.
No, he can't really retire. He'd be too bored.
I do not think this will be the last Mission Impossible movie.
I don't think so.
The Final Reckoning or Mission Impossible anything, just because heavy sigh. IP.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I do think
But how
there
do you
is a case that it might be the end for Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
I think they might end this story, and or at the very least, maybe they continue the series and Ethan pops in. You know, maybe it ends with him becoming the director of IMF or something. I don't know.
Something like
That I think what should happen. Just like, who knows?
Yeah.
It really does feel like it's hard to tell. We've never been at the movies, despite some like behind the scenes drama of will Tom come back or whatever. We've never had a Mission Impossible movie that really poises like, this is the end for you.
Yeah, this is the end. Yeah.
It's always like, will it be the end for you, Ethan? But this one, it feels like it's like they really want to lean into the, like you said, like, Ethan, you might actually die.
You might not make it out of this one, like actually.
Let's say,
but yeah. So, I mean, taking away like the meta of what we know, or where are you on one more? You need
certainly
one more?
need one more.
Certainly need one more. I'm like, I think I said it earlier. Like watching all these kind of in a row, I was feeling a little bit fatigued going into the 7th one.
Yeah.
But then like when it's on, like I'm like in.
There's so much
and I'm
fun.
watching it, and it's like I kept being like, oh, I'm gonna watch half, and then I'll work on some other things, and then like I was like, kind of don't want to stop. But I am like going to like do what I have to do.
To end the episode, we are going next week when this airs. The next week will be us having seen The Final Reckoning.
Yes.
Let's just say this. Let's throw out our guesses right now. Will Ethan Hunt die?
No. Yes. No.
For difference sake, I will say yes, then no, then yes. I will do the inverse of what you just answered.
Okay, got it.
I'll say. I
think he could.
I think he could.
I think he could. I just don't think Tom wants to. But I feel like Paramount wants him out for some reason. I feel like they're always butting heads, and I feel like they're gonna try and take it away from him. So I think this could be his last one, just because meta, they want to do something else.
I think it might be Tom's last one. For Ethan, I will say I'll make this my stance. I'll say no. I don't think he dies. I think they write him a little run off into the sunset. I don't think he dies.
That's fair. That's like
my theory.
We'll probably get like a semi-happy.
Yeah.
He's out there,
open door,
waiting.
Yeah.
He's gonna freeze himself like Master Chief at the end of Halo.
Oh, I was gonna say Austin Powers.
Damn, it was right there. I didn't take it.
It's okay.
He's like, he comes back. He's like, my mojo, man.
That would be, dude. I mean, hey, gold member.
Yeah,
baby.
Hey, yeah, baby.
But yeah, next week,
mini.
The Final Reckoning.
The Final Reckoning.
How crazy.
How crazy. He's got 8 of these.
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? Not us.
Not us.
Not us.
Not us. Your mission, should you choose to accept it,
is to make one more.
And to go to the theater and see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning to watch with us.
We support the theater.
We will support the theater.
Support the theater-going experience.
It's the first new movie. We probably will give a little bit of non-spoiler stuff off the top.
Split that into a non-spoiler section and spoilers.
We will certainly get into spoilers.
We will definitely do spoilers. So go check it out if you have time.
Go see the movie. Go see it on the biggest, not to sound like Tom, but actually, no, to sound like Tom. I fully support him on this. Go see it in the biggest screen you can.
Yes.
With the biggest crowd you can, and have a great fucking time.
Make sure you have some popcorn.
Have some popcorn. Get an icy. I like to get a mix.
I'm
get a cherry, blue raspberry.
I like Whoppers.
I love Whoppers.
When I go to the movies.
I get dibs, but because they're ice cream and they melt, I eat them before the movie starts. So I just have an empty container of dibs.
Sometimes we smuggle dibs in, and that same thing, we just eat them before the trailers are done. Because
I like 30
dibs,
minutes
man.
Of
trailers, but yeah.
But
yeah,
we'll see you.
We'll see y'all next week. Hopefully in the Discord, guys. Check it out. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to We Need One More.
Be sure to follow us on socials like TikTok and Instagram at WNOM Podcast to stay up to date on upcoming episodes.
And feel free to join our Discord community where you can share your thoughts on the movies we're watching together. That's going to be at WNOM Podcast server with a link in the bio.
Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. That's the best way to support the show and to let us know that you need one more.
We'll see you next week. This podcast is produced by Pilot 9 and 9 Ball Creative.